Hello, good morning. It is 8:46. That means that we have Dr. Aaron Chapa here in studio today. He's in the building. Dr. Chapa's in the building. He's getting some video streams shared out. We're going to be having a lot of fun today as we are going to be talking and discussing sleep. Is sleep important? That's one of my favorite things to do. I remember being a kid and never wanting to go to sleep. I wanted to stay up all night long doing what? Nothing. Playing video games, watching TV, just doing a bunch of...
What was your favorite video game that you watched or played while you were not sleeping?
Well, I would get in trouble. I didn't. I didn't do it. I just went to bed. But I wanted to be doing those things. Oh yeah, no way. I wasn't getting up and playing video games.
I was playing Tony Hawk
on PlayStation.
Yeah, you remember that game?
Yeah, it was a great game. That's like one of the best ones.
It was one of my all-time favorites.
So we're talking about sleep today, Dr. Chapa, right?
Yes, sir. Sleep, sleep, sleep.
Why is it important?
Well, let me just tell you. So, sleep is involved in so many functions of our day-to-day. It's a third of our lifespan that we spend in bed. And so when you think about it's a third of your lifespan, a third. So that means 1/3 of your entire life you find yourself asleep. And a lot of people just don't realize that sleep is a vital piece to healthcare. It is a vital piece to how well you age. It's a vital piece to your body's being able to recover and heal. It's important for your body to learn new things and remember and file yesterday's learning away in a data pool that you can pull from going forward. I mean, who wants to study the same thing over and over and over again and never be able to retain it, recall it, or pull it out?
Not me. I don't want to.
So if you're not sleeping, what is interesting, this guy, Randy Gardner, this was out of the book Brain Rules by John Medina. Randy Gardner set a world record in 1965, being a 17-year-old, rebel. He decided to set a world record and go 11 straight days without sleep. 11 straight days. And what do you think happened to him when he did not sleep for 11 straight days? Because it was astonishing that he actually was able to do it, number one. But what do you think people noticed about his brain function, his overall productivity?
Let me go ahead and say, I struggle, not falling asleep every 11 minutes. So for him to do that is a very, very interesting task. I don't know how you would do that other than have alarms and people watching you. But
how do you do it at 17? And how do you just have that idea? I'm not gonna sleep for 11 days. You
got to be a little crazy, I would say.
Right.
But I feel like your brain function would probably be trying to shut itself off by force, saying, "Hey, you need rest. You need to get sleep because." I don't know why. Your body just needs sleep, but I feel like your brain wouldn't be working to its full ability.
Well, that's right, and that's what William Dement, this scientist, researcher, decided to come alongside him. He was attracted by this study and said, hey, I'll follow you. I'll make sure. I'll hold you accountable, and we will set the experiment up, so to speak. And this is the one of the most amazing things about it is inside of short order, he became irritable, as people might note, is if you don't get a good night's sleep, how often are you irritated and irritable towards those you love or towards traffic or
the cops.
Towards anybody that you work with or deal with on a day-to-day basis? And it could have been resolved if you'd have just gone to bed an hour earlier, or if you would have started to shut the house down an hour earlier. I mean, with technology today, it's really, challenging to shut the house down because our houses are set up like Fort Knox. So we got TVs blaring. We've got some sort of entertainment device in the palm of our hand. We've got lighting that is 24/7. So sleep's important.
Right now, we're going to make that switch onto the FM as well. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's 8:51. We got Dr. Aaron Chapa in studio because it is Chapa Tuesday. We're going to be talking about sleep. Is it important? Why is it important? If you're watching on Facebook, do me a huge favor. Share this video out right now. Let me know, how is your sleep? What are the tricks that you use maybe to get the house shut down, to get the house ready for sleep? Dr. Chapa, why is sleep so important?
Well, as we were just talking about here to start in our show, we were talking. Let me just see if I can get that. So I'm trying to share this out since we got the stream going. Sorry about that. We were talking about Randy, Gardner doing this. Randy Gardner doing this study, and William Dement coming behind him. A research scientist and sleep specialist came in and said, "Hey, I'll follow that study." This guy set a world record. Randy Gardner, in 1965, he did not sleep for 11 days. 11 days. And so we're asking the question, what do you think happened to old Randy during that 11-day period? What do you think William Dement discovered about Randy's behavior patterns and his mental productivity patterns while he was going through this 11-day quest? And he, surprisingly accomplished the feat. I think that is, some studies get started with good intentions and good ideas only to be, cut off because they're not safe, they're not effective. They got the information they needed earlier than they expected. But this guy made it 11 days with no sleep. I mean, some people say, and myself included, I'm a glutton for information. I'm a glutton for time, as we all are. I mean, we all say we don't got enough time. We all say we need more time. But we have to recognize and realize we all have adequate time. We just mismanage it. And sleep is a vital portion of our life. It's a third of your lifespan. And so without good sleep, this Randy decided to do a study, and he reached out to the Guinness Book of World Records, and this scientist came alongside him and said, I'll track that, and we'll go to town together, and we'll figure out what's going to happen to his brain and to his body, and if anything changed at all. And he, in very short order, discovered, a level of irritability, a sense of forgetfulness, a sense of nausea, stomach pain. So some people wake up and they feel, nauseous in the morning. That very well could be because you didn't get adequate sleep. Your body didn't do what it was supposed to do during the night hours. And a lot of that could be because we don't prepare well for sleep. We just think our bodies are just, hey, I'm tired, I'm going to go to sleep. And it's just that simple. And I have to tell people there are so many nutritional factors that play into how your body shuts down. To shut this being down into a conscious state, to a level of unconsciousness. I mean, like it's one of our most vulnerable places to be is whenever you're completely out cold. And when your body is going through sleep cycles, it's been said by Tom. It'll come back to me, but it's in Change Your Habits, Change Your Life, and he says that we need 4 to 5 sleep cycles a night. That's an hour and a half intervals. That's 6 to 7 hours and a half hours of sleep a night minimum. So 6 minimum, 7.5 would be better. But people know I do better at 8. Some people say I do better at 9. Some people say all I need is 6 and I'm good to go. Mm-hmm. And people and I have friends that are like avid readers and they can literally operate seemingly on 4 hours of sleep. We all know those people. But what if just because you can do something, it's not a good thing? I mean, just because this guy could go 11 days, what he found in brain activity was substantially lower output. His ability to recall, his ability to control his emotions all went out the window. And so now those 11 days, although good for the rest of us, we start to realize, wow, if I'm studying new material for a new job or a class that you're taking or a hobby that you're wanting to embark on, and you're not getting good sleep, then all of a sudden you can't remember what you studied yesterday. So now you're having to waste time, so to speak, relearning information you've already put in there. And so there's a part of this sleep conversation that's so vitally important to us that if we're not getting good sleep, if you wake up at night to urinate, that's a sign that your body isn't going through the sleep process effectively. Your liver is not detoxing well.
What about dreams?
Wicked, wild, bizarre, funky, exotic dreams.
Or if you remember your dreams like every night. Because I talk to some people, they say, I never dream. And some people say, I dream all the time. Like, are you getting good sleep if you dream or if you don't?
So what this William Dement found is that dreaming permits each and every one of us to be quietly and safely insane through the night. Okay? and every night of our lives. So think about that for a second. He says, quietly and safely insane every night. Now, what do you think he meant by that? Your brain is so unbelievably active. It's more active when you're asleep than when you're awake. So that means we're engaging each other right now, and all the people that are listening, y'all are engaging with this show today, and yet your brain during the sleep cycle was more alert, more active, classified legally, safely insane for a period of 6 to 7.5 hours, and no one's the wiser. And that is really a remarkable conversation to be thinking through, is what is the brain doing? So your brain when you sleep, you activate a lymphatic piece of your brain that is called the glymphatic system. The glymphatic system is active only when you sleep, and it's the power washing system of the brain. And so if you don't get good sleep, you're not allowing your brain to bathe itself. And in the first 2 hours of sleep, 2 to 3 hours of sleep, your brain is doing most of its own washing of itself. It's cleaning house. It's like a cruise ship comes in and you see the guys on the side of the ship either power washing something or painting something. And then you probably got mechanics under there tuning up or changing the oil. Or you've got something going on when that thing is in dock so they can get the ship ready so they have less catastrophes when they're out on the ocean, so that anybody that goes on a cruise can enjoy the ride, right? Mm-hmm. So your brain does the same thing. It's like you go to sleep and it's your brain's time for dry docking, where it can clean itself up because of the amount of electrical synaptic activity that goes on all through the day and all through the learning process. Because every day we're learning something, right?
Hope so.
Mm-hmm. But we also have, ordinary habits, and we have keystone habits. So we got these ordinary habits like, we grab forks, habitually. We know how to get from our homes to our work habitually. And a lot of times these habits, are running without your voluntary involvement. And I think that's a fascinating thing. Well, what do you think happens when you don't get good sleep? Your habits then become skewed. They have found that patients or people that do not get good sleep it is as detrimental as driving while intoxicated, if not more intoxicated. And so more intoxicating, because your ability to perceive your environment, depth perception, all changes whenever you don't get a good night's sleep. And so the body is also, during that sleep cycle, is filing new information learned away in databases that you can reach into a file and pull out. Oh, this is Gardy, and Gardy is at KHEA Radio, and Gardy he also leads worship at this church called Abundant Life. And so we can start making these, files of association with the people that we interact with. And again, this idea that sleep is just a simple act. I'm tired, I go to bed. No, it's really interesting. I have patients come in every day and they say, the minute I get in bed, my legs start aching. Why would that happen? It wasn't aching when you were walking around in the kitchen. It wasn't aching while you were watching, your favorite TV show. It wasn't aching while you were tucking the kids in bed. But the minute you get in bed every night, you start feeling cramps and achiness in your calves. Well, that's because the body needs minerals. Minerals, by the way, guys, y'all have heard me say this, and I'll say it again and again and again, are absolutely the critical piece, the missing link, the electrifying.
My multi-mins,
which, by the way, is a precious commodity. They're on back order till September 20th.
So how much are these going for, actually? Because
I'm
open.
Per pill. These are precious, commodities that you have in that bottle. And so I might take me one before I leave. But it's amazing the amount of minerals it takes to put the body into a sleep state is amazing. So, we had Russ in the show just a second ago, and he was telling us behind the scenes, tell people my story. You got to tell them. So, Russ, here's your story, buddy. Here's your story. Here's your time. And Russ said, he goes, tell everybody that stuff really worked. And I said, what worked? I could sleep like a baby. I feel amazing. I mean, he even told Ashley, when Ashley reached out to him to see how he was doing, he goes, I'm sleeping like a baby. I feel amazing. I can't believe it. And all we put him on was calcium and magnesium and a product called Mentran. And Mintran is a pretty powerful nutrient that I love working with, and I've used it for a lot of different things. And the really interesting thing about this calcium magnesium product is that it is a product I use in the daytime for people too that are stressed out, because minerals are God's tranquilizers. It calms our mind. Have you ever had so many racing thoughts? Like, what if you're the person that crawls in bed and your mind is racing and you can't stop the thoughts and you're like, I don't know what to do. I need to go to sleep, but my mind is racing.
I've been there.
I mean, guys, slap that like button if that's happened to you, because I know it has. I absolutely know it has. And it's happened to me too. Yes. Gordy, don't slap
I
it.
literally slapped this iPad off the
That's right.
freaking table.
You know what? That needs to be another little emoji icon, like the slap feature, like where you really want to emphasize. Not just thumbs up it, but let's slap
do a sound
it.
effect. Hey, Dr. Chop, about the dreams, though, because people are asking. They said, so is that good or bad? Someone has lucid dreams, and someone said, hey, is it good or bad?
So I'm sorry. I get so excited about talking about this stuff. So here's the thing. So you should not know that you're dreaming, but we all dream. So you go through an hour and a half sleep cycle. You have a 3 dreaming pieces during that sleep cycle. And so and that's 1.5 hours is a sleep cycle, and you need 4 to 5 of them. And so the dreaming feature, if you are watching movie reels, lucid, vivid, exotic, bizarre, funky dreams all through the night, you're not asleep. You're conscious. Your conscious mind is still engaged. That is a problem. And that means that you're not in a subconscious, unconscious state. We need to be going deeper. And so what holds a person in that subconscious state is a healthy set of adrenal glands and a lot of really key vital nutrients like minerals, iodine, calcium, magnesium. And so if you are dreaming, it could mean that you don't have enough minerals. If you're dreaming, it means that your liver is backed up and congested. If you're dreaming and you know it, so let me make that clear, because we all dream. Everybody dreams. Without dreams, we aren't we're not having good sleep. But you should not know that you are dreaming, okay? Because you should be subconscious, unconscious. And so the dreaming feature could mean that you have abundance of parasites. Parasites are most active when the moon's out. And so they are like creepy, crawly creatures that come out during the night. They're like the little monsters. And so some of those vivid, exotic, bizarre, funky dreams that you're having are because of the little monsters that are floating around during your sleep cycle, infiltrating your brain, unfortunately.
What if you're like Mindy and you can control your dreams?
She's very much voluntarily engaging in dreaming. Therefore, she is not sleeping.
You know, okay, here's one of the, and I've been in this situation before where you've been at a job, and sometimes jobs and works and careers, it can be stressful. It's a lot of work, and then you go home and you're trying to get rest, and then you're dreaming about it, like I'm late for work. I'm late. You know, you're you're dreaming about potentially getting fired and other stuff. I've been there at that job, definitely not here, but before, where you're stressing out at work, you come home trying to go to sleep, and then you're stressing about it as well, and then you wake up and it's like, man, I got to go back to work. I feel like I was just at work because I'm dreaming about it. And those, so how do you get rid of that? How can you get that deep sleep?
Yeah, so number one, when you have things on your mind, such as, you know, losing a job, losing a loved one, a tragedy that's happened in your life, a financial crisis, whatever it is, we've got to get good at compartmentalizing. But more importantly, we've got to feed and strengthen, because what are all those things have in common? And it starts with an S and ends with 2 S's. Stress. Right?
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah,
I was thinking sass.
Yeah, sass. Okay, fair.
My
like it.
mind.
Yeah, sassy stress. Stress sassy. So stress can create those things that I just labeled off, whether it's tragedy, whether it's finance, whether it's, you know, some sort of thing, daunting task that is just keeping your mind alert and you can't get the sleep. It means that your adrenal glands are already tired, and your adrenal glands, guys, live on top of your kidneys. They're on the posterior, the back side of your abdominal cavity, and they're like little teepee hats that sit on top of your kidneys. And they regulate hormones, stress hormones, adrenaline. They regulate epinephrine. They regulate cortisol, your stress management hormones, which regulate blood pressure, which regulate sex hormones, which regulate blood sugar. I mean, they're involved in so many factors, and the adrenal glands have to be healthy. And so if you're finding yourself tossing and turning throughout the night or awake at night staring at the ceiling wondering why your significant other is snoozing and you're not, that means that your adrenal glands didn't do their job in keeping you in that deep sleep state. And so the second way that you can control those emotions is to regulate minerals. So things like Russ found, Mintran, is a very powerful tool. This other product that I use, it's called Tranquinol, and Tranquinol has several really cool little herbs in it. Olive leaf extract, which is a great anti-infective, so it could help people just by downregulating immune burdens that we are all carrying and allowing the body to rest from the immunological burden that people carry. Turkey tail, valerian root, some people have heard of these, chlorella, turmeric, inflammation. This is an inflammatory-based sleep problem. So you can have a mineral-based sleep problem. You can have an immunologically-based sleep problem. You can have a inflammatory-based sleep problem. And so one of the things that I know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is that we just have to get into people's lives. And that's why at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we offer our service to the masses, and we want people to know we got answers that can help you, because people don't realize it is more than just, I'm tired, I need to go to sleep. How are you going to get there? How are you going to calm down those racing thoughts? What are you going to do if you're staring at the ceiling in the middle of the night? And we will give you those tools. So Mintran is a powerful tool that you can use before sleep. Tranquinol is a powerful tool if you've got a lot of inflammation in your body during the day and your body is achy a lot. You might need Tranquinol in order to get your body to fall asleep more effectively. But what about those adrenal glands? What if you just need to, your stress is running between a 7 and a 10 on a 0 to 10 scale? Guys, if I could teach all of you that are hearing my voice to assess the stress.
Assess the stress.
If your scale is on a 0 to 10 basis and 7, 8, 9, and 10 are the worst, those are the marks. If you find yourself, and people might be chiming in, I'm at a 12 right now, I'm at a 13, I'm at a 15, go ahead, I know, bring it on. Slap the like button, let us know where your stress level is on a 0 to 10 scale, because this is important. You have to intervene. So my stress protocol that we brought on the show a few weeks back, and remember, I don't like the word stress because people just throw it around like it's just a thing, and I'm just going to blame everything on stress. But okay, great, Chapo, what am I going to do about it? Adaptocrine, ashwagandha, which has ashwagandha in it, rhodiola in it. It has stomach acids in it to help your adrenal glands be healthier, to regulate those blood sugar pathways, to regulate your stress pathways, to regulate your emergency fight or flight pathways more effectively. You've got to feed those adrenal glands to make sure that your system is set. You're setting yourself up for success during the night. But if you've got those wicked, bizarre, funky, exotic dreams, what are you going to do? That's immunologically challenges. That means that you've got parasites, you've got some sort of fungus, you've got some sort of bacteria that is floating around inside the blood that is upregulating brain activity. It's like, think about it. If somebody came in every 15 minutes and disturbed your sleep, how well would you sleep?
Not that well.
Not well, and it's over time get irritating. Well, that's what pathogens do. These parasites do, is they're literally wreaking havoc on sleep cycles during the night. It'd be like you're trying to be a good hard worker and be diligent, doing your job every day, but then you got little Johnny coming, to the door, or you got, Big Johnny coming to the door, I guess, in this work environment, banging on the door saying, "Hey, Gardy, hey, what's going on, man? Hey, Gardy." And it just,
what you doing?
And doing all those little miscellaneous. Well, I'm working, and then they leave, and then they come back 15 minutes later, and they break your distraction. They break your concentration again, and it takes you an additional 15 minutes to reset that. Well, your adrenal glands, if they're healthy, can lower that basis. So we use adaptocrine for stress. We use Mintran for stress. So yes, during the day. Why would I use a product that helps people sleep during the day? Because when your stress is at a 7, 8, 9, or 10, you are burning your mineral candle too quickly. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have enough minerals going to sleep, you can't shut down and fall asleep adequately. If you got aches and pains in your body when you fall asleep, you don't have enough minerals in your body. If your mind is racing while you're trying to go to sleep during the night, then you don't have enough minerals in your body. And these are easy things that can be regulated with something like Tranquinol, Mintran, and I have another, couple neurotransmitter-based products called Serenity PM and Serenity. And what these are designed to do is to calm the brain down, to help the brain begin to drift off into that sleep cycle.
So one thing I wanted to bring up before we got too far away from this question, this is from my friend Luis. He wanted to know about working nights. So he works at night. So his schedule's flip-flopped, right? What can we do for him? Because I think the way people are set up is you're not naturally born to work, at night. But that's just the reality. So what do we do?
Yeah. Well, I would tell you, even though you work nights, you still should be able to sleep a third of your life, in some capacity. You just got to set up the parameters. So one of the things that we've seen, people have done studies where they went down into caves deep below the Earth's surface. There is zilcho lito.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically lived in the dark in order to do these experiments. And they did some of these experiments in the dark. They did some of these experiments, flipping lights on and off. And they found that their body naturally would sleep a third of the day, between 6 and 8 hours, regardless of sunshine. Now, without sunshine, people have also I can make story case and seen research documents on people going crazy without sunshine. But I mean, for the sake of, there's no way I could go down in a cave that I'd start losing it. I would go crazy. But and that would just not be good. But here's what we know: is if you're a shift workers, and I hate to say this, Luis, because I don't want you don't receive this, okay? Just understand this is what I've seen in practice, is they're the sickest people that come in to see me. Does that make sense? So when people don't get good rest because they are on a shift cycle job where they're up during the night and they're supposed to be asleep during the day, because they don't set up their parameters correctly, they don't have a room designated to be completely dark to simulate a sleeping environment. As soon as your skin, the melanocytes in your skin, when they see light coming through the window, it's like the rooster crows. Time to get up, right? And so we've got to get into a space where we can turn out the lights. We can not only that, block out the sun. We've even, to some extent, have to even tape black electrical tape over the red smoke detectors or the little lights on your TVs, or even the lights that pop up everywhere. I've even seen those little switch protectors where you plug all your cords into has a little built-in light on it. And all of those things your body can see, and you're more susceptible to the lights, those little lights in your space, when your minerals are low, your adrenals are tired, and again, your adrenal glands regulate stress, and you've got a lot on your mind. And so your body is using up a lot of minerals and a lot of key nutrients that would normally be used to put you and keep you in a deep sleep state.
I'll usually turn my cell phone upside down because I realize that I may get a notification from social media or from an email or something, and your phone lights up, and then the light catches my eye, and I look at it. So I just turn it upside down and turn it on vibrate or silent mode.
You have to, and a lot of people, my neighbors, they're so good about this because he works for the railroad. He's got probably one of the worst, jobs ever on that note of sleep, because the railroad, it's 24/7. All the time.
Yeah.
And
actually,
so,
someone who's commenting on here, my friend Aaron, he works for the railroad too.
Yeah.
And he was asking about the dream.
And when you have these issues with respect to a job that doesn't allow you to have good sleep, you got to master technology, man. You got to put these things on do not disturb. And give yourself the space. And that's just it. People don't plan to fail. What they just failed to plan. Right. So you've got to make sure you create the environment for good, healthy sleep patterns. And then all of a sudden, you'll still get your third of an hour. Nurses also, a lot of times nurses come in to see me, and they're the sickest that the patients I have, because it's all because of shift work. The guys that work out in the plants, or the gals, truck drivers, and then the railroaders. I've observed this. I've seen this over the years, and that they are absolutely the sickest patients that walk in to see us, and it's because of a lack of sleep. And sleep is absolutely vital. And it's so interestingly, I just wanted to read this because I think that it's interesting. This is a book about the brain, and it's got a whole 47 pages around sleep, and it says, so how much sleep does a person need, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because everybody knows about there's sleep studies. Dentists are doing sleep studies in this day and age. This is how important sleep is. That dentistry is looking into sleep studies because of airway changes. And when you don't get air to your brain, you're setting yourself up for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, right? So airflow can change the dynamics of your sleep. So if you've got a deviated septum, if you've got swollen tonsils, if you got constant drainage down the back of your throat, all these immunological triggers that I speak to that might be causing your body not to be able to get a good sleep, these are check engine lights that stuff's up. If you snore a lot, if your partner snores a lot, if you're racing him or her to the bed so that you can get to sleep before the snoring starts, and these are all indicators that air flow and toxicity is an issue. And so how much of this stuff do we need? So with all the research out, and all the research I even looked up prior to the show, giving all of our understanding about how and when we sleep, you might expect scientists would come up with this answer very quickly, right? But indeed, and indeed they have. And here's the answer. We don't know. And you did not read that wrong. After all these centuries of experience with sleep, we still don't know how much of the stuff. Now, I love the way he worded that. It's almost like this. It's this mystical potion, sleep. We don't know how much of the stuff people actually need. Generalizations don't work. When you dig into the data of humans, what you can find is not remarkable uniformity, but remarkable individuality. And so how do I say it's individual to you, but then go off and say, well, we know that you need 6 to 7.5 hours sleep? Because there's the bell curve. There are always going to be outliers on either side of the bell curve, people that need 12 hours and people that need that can seemingly function on 4. But there's 95% of the population need between 6 and 7.5, 8 hours of sleep. And the same goes with if you're a night owl or if you're an eagle that soars in the morning, right? For 10 people, 2 persons will be night owls. 1 will be an early riser, and everybody else is somewhere in the middle. And but it always goes back to this idea of what's the averages showing us. But still, Dr. Chapa I love 8 hours, but I can function just fine on 6. So I pick a day or 2 out of the week and I try to shoot for 8 hours. But then my other days, I also know that exercise plays a good part of my daily health practice. So I want to get my hiney up and go to the gym or go for a walk or get sweaty. I've been lately playing tennis with my neighbor and his son in the morning, and it's amazing, like how good it feels to be active. So exercise is an important part. So I'm willing to go 6 hours, but I like 8. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
But I also know that because depending on where I sleep in the house, if there's light that comes in, it doesn't matter. I'm waking up as soon as that sun hits my arm. As soon as that sun hits my forehead. So we have sleep secrets. Like sometimes putting socks on before bed could be a useful tool to help you shut down. Or putting on an eye mask over your eyes can help you sleep because you got so much data input via the eyes, and it's 80% of sensory input comes via our senses. Our eyes are a key factor in making sure that we are able to sleep deep by putting in so a simple eye mask. And so even you manly guys out there that are afraid you're going to look stupid when you're sleeping with your little cute eye mask on, dude, you should get you a little cute one. The one that's got like some sort of cool cartoon character like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on it or something, and freak people out.
Dr. Chapa, the comment section in this Facebook stream is going off. I don't know if anybody else is reading this and following along, but there's a lot of interesting topics about dreams and alarm clocks and dropping off roosters that are edible for in place of an alarm clock.
You got that's Jeremy for you. Like definitely Jeremy. He's a a country boy, so to speak.
Okay.
And his kids. I remember his wife texted me one time, and she goes, "The things you never thought you would hear your kids say, or hear myself as a parent say." Don't take the chickens into the clubhouse, and so because these are city folk that somehow turned country. God bless you, and so their kids are out playing with pigs, and there's roosters, and Jeremy's talked about how the roosters have tried to dominate the kids and cornered his wife, and he had to go out there and kill the rooster because the rooster was trying to alpha
Show him
dog.
who's boss.
That's
yeah.
right. I mean, that's what you got to do. And so Jeremy's a man's man. Like he's
Okay.
he's this guy that he climbs trees and cuts branches down. He's got a big old beard and
And big old face mask too that he goes to sleep with. You think?
I bet you he does. Jeremy, do you got a face mask? You got a little cute face mask that you use at night? I bet you do. I'm gonna give you a ring later. You should just go ahead and comment since you're stirring up the roost here. I like it.
So here was a comment. This is from Jennifer Meyerhoff. She was asking about, and for some clarification about dreams, and I'll go ahead and read it so it's in her words. She said, "Are you saying that dreams, that all dreams are stress-induced or are a result of not deep sleeping? Many dreams are dreams from God. Please clarify."
Oh,
And then she
I'm so glad you asked that question.
Yeah, another comment. She said, "I'm very interested in the way the brain works, and I also have issues with sleep. I also have specific dreams at times. Just trying to totally understand what what's saying."
And I'm going to answer to the best of my ability, okay?
Right.
And understand, for all of you wonderful, lovely people that support KHEA Radio and support us by listening, sharing our information. And if you do know people that need to hear this information about sleep, please share it. Because people don't know what they don't know, and I want to give people new information. But I am no theologian, all right? I'm a man that loves Jesus, and I truly do. I love Jesus. So if I say something that's theologically inaccurate or whatever, you can chastise me a little bit, but understand it. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings, and it really is what it is. But I'm gonna say how I feel about it. I was doing a program with a doc one time, and he was working me through some stuff, and I said, I think God keeps waking me up at night, and he goes, why you say that? And I was telling him, all the stuff that was happening. And I said, but man, I'm like exhausted, tired by 10 a.m. And he goes, well, that's not God. And I said, why not? I said, I think it could be. And he goes, it's not God. He goes, because God will restore the sleep for which he takes from you because it's such an important piece of your health and vitality. And so I go, well, that's cool. Well, I have another friend. She interprets dreams. She is like Daniel in the Bible. And I've never, it's amazing what this gal knows about dreaming.
Well, there's a dream that was mentioned on here about having a rat fall in a pickle jar. If she wants to take a stab at that one.
I'll ask her, but, I don't know. But anywho, so here's what I know and really believe is that people have gifts spiritually. And so spiritually, if you are one that has been given gifts of dreams or, then good on you. God has not given me that gift. So what I know is that everybody's dreaming. So here, please remember, I said that. Everybody dreams. You just shouldn't know about it. Now, if you go, well, but God's given me a message, like I thought, well, how do you feel in the morning? Are you exhausted, tired because God kept you up all night? I don't think that's the same what I'm getting at. I think that's different. But God does wake people up in dreams. And so the only dream that I think is acceptable is one that is a message from God. And it should be an answer. It should be a warning. It should be a directive, right?
Confirmation.
And then you should have a supernatural peace that surpasses all understanding, that guards your heart, your mind, and your soul through Christ Jesus. Praise be to the Lord. That's Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Do not be anxious about anything. So there's a peace, that there is a truth that you speak, Jennifer, about dreams. If it is a true dream from God, it should be in one of those categories, and it should be like a gift and a reward and something that gives you peace and rest, and or confirmation or warning or guidance. But if you're dreaming of, and I'm just going to pick on this because they threw it out there about rats falling in pickle jars. Okay, well maybe there's an interpretation there that's relatable to her, right? But what if that rat tonight comes out of the pickle jar and tries to kill her? Well, that's a nightmare, right?
Yeah, that's not good. I don't
Night
want
terrors, nightmares are parasitic. They are bacterial. They are lack of minerals. And your body is subconsciously like still awake. And what did I say earlier? Sleep, according to William Laurent, he said that it is a time where your body can be in a state every night of your life safely and quietly insane. So maybe, you're seeing a little bit of the brain's working. It's like you happen to walk past the candy maker making his candy, and you're like, wow, I'm mesmerized. Well, if you catch your brain working whenever you're supposed to be sleeping, being at a conscious level, then that's a sign that you need to be sleeping. It's like trying to catch Santa Claus. You're not supposed to see him, right? And so you're not supposed to see the brain in action. You're supposed to allow the lymphatics to clean and cleanse. You're supposed to allow the brain to function like it's supposed to function. And it's reorienting memories. It's reorienting files that you learned. It's reorienting healing. Your liver's supposed to be detoxifying. Your lungs are supposed to be outgassing. And then your bowels are getting set up and ready to dump toxins through the sewer system when you wake up in the morning. There is a system. There's a plan. The body is set up on a clock, and the clock runs at peak performance hours. Every world record's been broken between 11 and 12 o'clock, or 11 and 1 o'clock in the 100-meter dash, and it's because the heart meridian is most active during the sun being directly overhead. And so this is a fascinating find. The body has a clock, and it's always operating off of its clock. And so when we're sleeping, we're supposed to be out cold subconscious because the brain has work to do. And people that eat big meals before nighttime, these people put all the blood flow in their belly, and they put very little blood flow, unfortunately, in their head, and they aren't able to cleanse their mind like the lymphatic system wants to do. And I look at it like power washing. Who doesn't like? I don't know any of the ladies that might appreciate this, because most of the time I see guys out power washing their sidewalks. There's something satisfying about watching the dirt just get ripped off the concrete, and then looking at it after it dries, and your concrete's white. And you're like, that's cool. You know? And it's one of those, like, something's just satisfied. Well, what if your brain isn't satisfied with the outcome of its sleep cycle? Well, then you start seeing things like memory loss, dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. You start seeing this neurological decline. In your children, you start seeing them not do well in school. You start seeing their temperament and attitude change because they don't have a well-developed frontal lobe and know that you can't go off on your teacher. You can't push people around at school and be a bully. It's just not socially acceptable. But if you don't have a well-developed frontal lobe neurologically, then you don't recognize that you can't say everything that's on your mind.
So if adults need about 6 to 9 hours of sleep, how about kids?
About in the same ballpark, but like the younger they are, like babies, for example, sleep 2/3 of their day, right? And that's by design, because there's so much neurological development. Like the blood-brain barrier is not fully sealed when the baby comes out the womb. And that's why it's so dangerous to inject things in kids and to, put all these processed foods and formulas in kids, because the blood-brain barrier is not fully mature. I'm so sorry if you did not know that. But the brain has to be protected. In some cases, because of the amount of processing in our environment today, the blood-brain barrier is very penetratable up until 12, 13, 14, and 15 in some cases. And so anytime we're exposed to foreign bodies, they have a potential chance to be a toxin, something our body can't use, and that is something detrimental to our body, as opposed to something that could be hormetic. Hormetic meaning a challenge for your body to see, recognize, and then rise up and overcome. So we want to be strong. If it doesn't kill you, it should make you what?
Stronger.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's called hormesis. Hormesis is I'm exposed to a foreign body, but my body can recognize it, strategize around it, and then go forward and say, what am I going to do? This is what I'm going to do. Instigate a plan and get rid of the burden that is being carried, whether bacterial, fungal, parasitic, whether it's even a nutritional deficiency. Because the body, a lot of times, why it aches in the bones and why it aches in the muscles is because the body is robbing minerals out of those tissues, so they start to go into a form of a Charlie horse or a cramp, because the minerals have to go towards the more dominant system, the brain. It has to go towards the more dominant system, the liver, for detoxification, and going into the adrenal glands to create the sleep cycle. So I look at it like the Star Wars movie where, Obi-Wan Kenobi is sneaking around the Death Star and he's pulling down the internal power circuits of the Death Star in order to get it to shut down the shields so that the good guys can go in and take care of business. Well, if you don't have the right team that can shut down the body effectively, the mind effectively, so that the mind can turn on other systems and become more active than when you were awake, wow, you're in trouble. So sleep is a vital piece of your day-to-day living.
A couple things. My son, he probably gets like 10 to 12 hours of sleep. He's 6 years old, and no joke, he can sleep, and we make sure that he gets the amount of rest that he needs at this point. There was a question that was asked earlier, I believe it was by Amber. She wanted to know if you needed to come get some blood work done to check for any deficiencies before you start taking minerals.
Absolutely not. I mean, if you're eating vegetables, you're getting minerals. If you're getting into fruits, you're getting minerals. You need to just Google high calcium and magnesium based vegetables and fruits, and make sure you're getting them organic. Buy them local. Go to a local farmer's market. Get involved in a co-op. I mean, and absolutely, minerals are the safest thing that you can put in. And just like Russ was saying earlier, Mintran was a powerhouse. I'm telling you, I use more Mintran, which is by far the cheapest product in my office, more than any other product in my office, because it is such a vital piece to day-to-day living. This reacted minerals, probably number 3 on my list of most sold products in my office, because without minerals, you cannot. It's like having all these fancy gizmos and gadgets in here to have a talk show and not plugging any of it in, and the message doesn't get out. But because, y'all paid the bill and y'all turned the stuff on, we have a way to reach the people and get the message out. Well, minerals are the powerhouse that allows the systems to engage so that the body can do what it's designed to do, function the way that God created it to function. And so, again, minerals are the safest thing. And I have liquid minerals for kids that can't swallow pills. I have powdered stuff. It's called Coral Legend. That's a calcium magnesium product that is 80% bioavailable. It's very absorbable in the body, and the body can use it. If you've got a fever, if you've got an illness, this stuff is like gold. I call it white gold. If you can't sleep at night, I remember this story. One time my daughter comes to me, Daddy, she might have been 6 or 7, probably more like 7, and she goes, you can help me when I got a sore throat. You can help me when I get a headache. You can help me when I got a belly pain. It would be really cool if you had something that could help me fall asleep when my mind is going crazy at night. Because she's a very, excitable kid and very imaginative, and her mind just goes crazy all the time. And so when she is, at that level and she's trying to go to sleep, I said to her, honey, the next time that happens, you come get me, and I will show you what I got. And she goes, really? And I said, sure enough. So it wasn't 3 days, and she comes and wakes me up. Daddy, my mind's racing. I can't go to sleep. You said you had something for me. I said, I sure do. And so I handed her some Mintran in this case, gave her 2 Mintran, and I said, you go back to bed, and I bet you in less than 7 minutes, you'll be asleep, and you won't even remember waking up and coming and waking me up. And she goes, okay. So she goes back to her bed, and I asked her the next morning, I said, hey, how'd you sleep? She goes, oh, I slept great. I said, do you remember coming and waking me up, telling me you couldn't sleep? She goes, no, I don't remember that. And I put her into such a deep sleep that it literally changed the dynamics of her ability to shut down. So guess what's on her nightstand? Guess what's on my nightstand? Water and Mintran. Mm-hmm. Water and Coral. Because, I also have a little 4-year-old, 3-year-old, 3.5-year-old that if she can't swallow pills yet, she just chews stuff up, or I just put powder in her mouth. And the Coral Legend is always, and the Mintran are always on my nightstand, because they're a vital piece of the sleeping unit. Absolutely wonderfully safe. Now, just to answer that question on this whole, is it different for kids? I just happened to glance down at this page, and I really like this book because it really does put it in a nice way. This is called Brain Rules, again, by John Mendina. I do think he kind of, in the beginning, he might be an evolutionist. I'm not sure, based on some of the things he says. And it is one of my most biggest pet peeves and frustrations is when I look at peer-reviewed journals And it's just, and I say this to everybody so y'all really can appreciate this, because a lot of people hearing my voice, y'all have to have research and you have to have science, right? And to back stuff up that people say. Because I always will tell you, don't take my word for it, man. Just come try it, and then let us teach you and let us show you how the products work, and then you let the products teach you how they're going to affect your life, because that's how it works. If I'm over here just, running my mouth, like, I hope everything I say provokes you to think differently, because I don't want to be just up here allowing you to be mindless. I want you to hear me and then and go try it and see if it works and understand, and I want to be thought-provoking. But this idea that we need change that I want to say is that we have to find and be okay that the Bible says in the beginning God. End of story. In the beginning God. He created all this stuff. He designed all this stuff. He has an immense understanding, because every peer-reviewed journal I see is always about 4 billion years old or whatever, right? So you just remember, I listen to all this stuff and I appreciate the science of what they're teaching, but just remember, don't let it, like, you can learn from the donkey. Remember that God spoke through the donkey, and I'm not calling this fella a donkey by any stretch. He's a brilliant fella, and anybody that understands the brain is truly brilliant, because the brain is highly complex. I just love reading about it. I love thinking about it, and I pray God would give me insight and understanding to appreciate it. And one day, I'll arrive. So this says, though, to make matters worse, sleep schedules are unbelievably dynamic. They change with age. So there's your answer. But they're about the same. So they change with gender. They change depending upon whether or not you're pregnant or whether or not you are going through puberty. They are so many variables one must take into account that it almost feels as though you've asked the wrong question. So let's invert the question. How much sleep don't you need? And so, what I found in my practice, I had a patient that needed 18 hours of sleep in order to function. Well, is that realistic?
Not for most people. I don't think so, no.
But she had the good fortune because she was chronically fatigued, and the way you could tell the difference between chronic fatigue and tiredness is relieved with rest. You go to sleep, you take a nap. I mean, NASA's done all these studies that a 26-minute nap will increase 38% of functionality in all output for 5 hours. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. And so when it comes to having excess amounts of sleep, then there's a level of productivity that's going the wrong way, unless you see babies highly developing, or you see cancer patients just surviving, or if you see burn victims surviving, or if you see extreme chronic fatigue just surviving. These people are just surviving. They're not engaging in high-level productivity. And so there is a medical glitch. There is a body function system that's not performing like it's supposed to. And so one of the things that I help people recognize is that it's okay if for a season we have to allow you to break outside the norm and sleep too much in order to heal, so that you can get traction back. It's like going back out of debt. You have to get out of debt and then stay out of debt. So if you are sleep debt or sleep deprived, then you might have to catch up on sleep. And so hopefully you don't have to be this patient, but she was able to leave her family for a 30-day period. In the first week, she slept 18 hours a day. The second week, with supplementation and adrenal repair and good blood sugar balance, we had her on a very strict diet and a very strict supplemental regimen and a lot of sleep. Her parents allowed this to happen for her, to intervene for her. The second week, she was down to 12 hours of sleep a day. The third week, she was in the echelon of 10 to 8 hours of sleep. And then the last week, when she was preparing to go back home, she was back in the 6 to 8.5 hour zone. So your body will catch up. So if you're finding yourself, needing excess amount of sleep day in and day out, there's an issue there as well. You shouldn't need more than a third of your lifespan to rest. And a 20-minute cat nap does the body good. A good sleep cycle regimen where you don't wake up to pee, you don't wake up with bad dreams, you don't wake up and stare at the ceiling, are all good indicators that you went to sleep, your eyes woke back up, and it's 4:45, 5 minutes before your alarm goes off, or 6:45, right before the rooster crows, or whatever time the sun rises. And so we start looking back at how the body should function. And I've heard people that have had the means to take their families on trips, and some of these guys are like, these are our technology vacations. They take away all technology, and they say it takes 3 to 4 days minimum to break the addiction to the technology. I mean, we check these devices every 15 minutes. Y'all know this? I mean, it's quite amazing how attached to them we are. And then if you also, these guys create environments where they're doing a lot of outdoor camping and things like that, it takes, just a couple days to start acclimating to when the sun goes down. You start getting tired around the campfire, as opposed to being in a hotel that has, kids games at night or swimming pools or things to keep us awake and alert and, being constantly stimulated, right? We've got to look at, we're being entertained when we're supposed to be getting ready for a sleep cycle. And it's not just this haphazard thing, this thing called sleep. Remember, I love the way this guy said it. It's like, how much of the stuff do we actually need? And the stuff is because we truly don't understand how dynamic and powerful it is, and or how to truly get good amounts of it or enough of it. And so I just always appreciate the way he worded that, because this is one of those areas where it is individual, and you will see kids or people that are very sick sleep a lot more. I mean, I even watched, my kids, whenever my oldest and my second oldest, they got sick around 4 years old, and they slept most of the day. Why are you resting? Why are you sleeping? Why are you laying there? Because you're conserving output energy so that you can internalize the energy to go do a job. So sleep is not a haphazard thing. We need to be intentional about our sleep. We need to be mindful that it is very, very productive for longevity. It's very a necessary tool to help our body do what it's supposed to do, to live out our days to the best ability as possible. And so we're always looking for ways to enhance our sleep quality. And I use a lot of minerals. I use a lot of neurotransmitters. I use a lot of liver support. I use a lot of adrenal support while I'm putting people into deep sleep cycles. And, people come in the office, and there's reflexes that I can look at on the back of the head that are deep sleep and or shallow superficial sleep circuitry that we can tap into and see if the body is getting good rest. And it's really fun to watch that you start changing these dynamics in people, and their body starts to heal just because we provided a need that the body had, and the body began to function the way it was supposed to. It's really cool.
So here's another issue whenever it comes to sleep. We're talking to Dr. Aaron Chapa. This show has been all about sleep, issues with sleep. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Right now it's 9:44. This is from Michelle. It's a comment on our Facebook stream. She said, if you have sleep apnea, what is it really from? I know they did a test, and it showed I stopped breathing 54 times during the night. So what is the body lacking?
Oh, great question. So it could be immunological. It means that you have too much congestion in your upper high limb system. That's anything collarbone and up. And that means that the tonsils are being used as exit channels. Your lymphatics are clogged up. And so when you're lying on your back, your tongue falls back. You're limiting the amount of airflow to get into your body, into your mind, and to your tissues for healing and repair, because oxygen is important. It could be that sleep apnea is an issue of liver congestion, where if the liver is toxic and it's not able to process the load of trash it has to get rid of for the day, your people will start snoring. They'll start having issues like sleep apnea because of a liver congestion problem. It changes the lymphatics, it changes the circulation, and its toxicity is outperforming nutritional density. And so we've got to flip the switch and get your body more essential fatty acid rich. We got to get more vitamins and minerals in place so that your body can do its nighttime functional job. And then a lot of kids today, we're seeing more and more braces and more need for palate expansion and tongue ties and all these issues going on in the mouth. And I believe, according to Felix Lau, according to Weston A. Price, these guys all found that the more domesticated a body is, the more we have cavities, the more narrow our palate becomes. So therefore, apparently God messed up, put too many teeth in our head, right? That's why we got to pull 7 teeth out or 8 teeth out because, God messed up. No. It's something not developing in our body. And I was frankly really upset with this because, we had to do some palate work with my daughter, and we're doing braces stuff with her as well. And I said, I talked to Felix Lau out in West Virginia, and he's like a founder of this technique called the Weber technique, not Webster, but Weber. And I really appreciate the guy, and he's super nice. Spent an hour and a half on the phone with me one day, and we just chatting about this, that, and the other. And I said, Felix, dude, I'll be honest with you, dude. Like I know people probably say this all the time, that they really practice what they preach and they actually really do this, but I'm mad because I've done all this stuff. I do everything I know to do to not poison my children. I do everything I can do to help my wife, be nourished while she was developing these children. And he goes, dude, I get it. I totally get it. And but let me help you understand. You've read Francis Pottinger's book, right? And I'm like, yeah, the cat story. You feed one set of cats, junky food and processed food, and they don't thrive. They have infertility issues. They have smaller litters. They have inadequacies in bone development. They start having deformities, and they start dying off earlier than they should. And then you feed one group of cats healthy food, and then all of a sudden they thrive, right? And I'm like, okay, I can appreciate it. What's your point? He goes, well, what were your teeth like as a kid? I said, my teeth were terrible. I had to have braces. I'm sure I had, issues. I've had cavity stuff in the past. He goes, how's your mom and dad's teeth? Well, I said, I don't really know about my dad, but I know my mom's had a lot of stuff going on too, with gums and teeth and issues like that. And he goes, okay, what about your wife? How's her teeth? I said, she had palate issues, expanders and braces and et cetera. And I said, all right, what about her parents? Well, mom, I think, to my knowledge, has really great mouth. And but I don't know if she actually ever had braces or not. But I know my father-in-law, he's always had trouble with his teeth. And he goes, okay, that's all I need to know. So you're dealing, in some respects, with 3 generations, just like in Francis Pottinger's book and in the cat story. It took 3 generations to destroy a gene code. It takes 3 generations to restore a gene code. So if you're the first generation actually feeding good nutrition back into a dense level of, value to the body in your children and your personal life, you're the first generation that's making those changes, but the damage was already done because it was passed down to you. So this is where sometimes genetics is not our friend. There is a component where, we can't change everything in one generation because it does take time. And so all we can do is hope that you instill in your babies a different way of living and a different attitude towards what they put in their body, because what you eat is important, but what you don't eat is more important, guys.
So your great-great-grandkids are going to look back and thank you and probably write a book. It's going to be,
I pray,
Dr. Chapa, but the next generation.
That's right.
And they'll be looking
3.0.
back and saying, hey, this was the long experiment, and it turns out it works.
And that's right. And that's the old thing. When you have naysayers in your life and you have people out there that are criticizing you, let time prove you right. Just stand on your morals, ethics, and values. Stand on the Word of God. What does the Word of God say? We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. I wish I could, strengthen all aspects of every tissue, cell, organ, gland in my body. But understand, your body will be saved one day. Your spirit is saved the day that you say yes to Jesus. Your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions are sanctified every day. But your body will be saved one day. And it's amazing that a 95-year-old man with Alzheimer's that came in to see me, he had the best 2.5 years of his life. We empowered that man's departure. Well, God empowered that man's departure. He just used me as conduit. And so you can get a cut on your arm as a baby. You can get a cut on your arm as a 96-year-old man or a woman, and you can heal. But you're still dying. And the part of the journey, guys, is to just understand that we're all playing a vitality game. And if you do things that cause your body to decay faster than it repairs itself, then your lifespan is shorter. And if you're fortunate enough to have good genes and a good working code, you can express less of the bad stuff. But just because you've got heart disease in your line, I do, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm human, and sometimes I let the enemy speak lies to me. 53 is right around the corner, Chop. 13 years from now, you're going to be 53. Your dad died at 53. It's just lies, lies, lies. And just because you've got cancer in your line, just because you've got Alzheimer's and Parkinson's in your line, doesn't mean you have to express it. So understand, you've got to have a grit. You have to have a belief. You have to change your limiting beliefs to what we call, keystone belief systems that will drive you to get your hiney out of bed in the morning. Early to bed, early to rise. Makes the man what?
Healthy, wealthy, wise.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ben Franklin. And we know that when you live well and you live happy and you do good to people and you test the spirits, so to speak. You measure everything back to what does the Bible say about that. I don't think you're going to go wrong. I always say, some people say, well, I don't believe in the Bible. Okay, let me ask you this. Do you want the guy next door to you to believe in the Bible? Or do you think he's okay, cool with not the 10 Commandments, that the shout, kill? I hope not, right? So at the end of the day, there's good principles. There's good things to live by. Morals, ethics, and values. I've seen plenty of people that were followers of the seed time, harvest time principles, even though they weren't Christian, and they still reap the benefits because we're all under the law of seed time and harvest. But God put it in the Word. I think it's in like first book Genesis 22, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's mind-boggling to me that we have so many limiting beliefs, and we believe the lies that creep up in our own heads about how we're to age, or we just our lack of knowing. Like there's a lot of misinformation out there, and my job is to try to get you guys to wake up to the idea that there is a better way. And I hope that every time that I'm on KHEA Radio, I hope that every time that I'm on doing something in my office, we'll come to an event. I hope that you guys always take advantage of it, because there's a lot of information that we would like to share. It's just not enough time to share everything in one fell swoop.
Mm-hmm.
That's why this last 5 or 6 shows, we're trying to specialize these shows to be a little bit more tailored to what is going on in particular conditions that people are dealing with, and how we've used non-drug, non-surgical interventions to help remedy the issue. And so we have, our mommy meetup groups coming up September 16th at Walter Hall Park. That's on from 9 to 11. We have our immune talk. So come learn about reading the signs. It's going to be at 6:30 on the 24th of September. And we also have a cool 4th trimester seminar set up at Moonlight Yoga Studio on the 28th, where we're going to be teaching people how to restore the damage done from pregnancy, as that pelvic floor gets altered because of a little baby trying to shoot out there like a torpedo. And so the moms are going to love this because it's going to help restore their bodies back to ideal health. That'd be a really cool program. There is a cost to that, but you can call my office at 281-554-8600. And then next week, just remember, we're going to be talking about blood pressure, hypertension, and things you can do to make sure your heart is healthy and strong.
Okay, there's one question, and I said that we would get it asked. It does not have to do with sleep, but I feel like it is important, especially as we were talking about age and growing older.
Yeah.
This is from Vanessa. She said, "Hi, Dr. Chapa. This has nothing to do with dreams, but my 83-year-old dad has been losing weight rapidly over the past year. He has lost his appetite, and he says he can't eat. What can we do?" So
number one, obviously we want to rule out any extravagant issues, look at ominous signs and blood work. And so we'd like to run blood work, a full panel, to see, what is going on, and make sure that we don't see those check engine lights that lead us to think rapid weight loss. Oh, that could be, I don't want to say the cancer word, but, some sort of condition that's a little bit more serious. And then if it is, we got to start also saying, all right, where do we start? We start with the basics. We start looking at breakfast. We start looking at what are we putting in for fuel. I know he's not hungry, but can he eat, or does he get nauseous when he eats? Can we get fuel in him even though he doesn't want to? So just because he doesn't necessarily want to doesn't mean he shouldn't, because we do have a blood sugar pathway we have to honor in our body. And so if he's laying around a lot and he's very lethargic and run down, it could very well be a blood sugar challenge, and we've got to get some level of nourishment in. So easy to digest proteins, maybe some pumpkin seeds, maybe some watermelon sprouted seeds, eggs, chicken, fish, turkey, getting, different things like that in. Maybe not like the jerkies and whatnot, things that are overcooked, but things that are like, lightly cooked and light and easy to digest. Notice I didn't say pork. I didn't say red meat, because we're looking for easy to digest things. One of the favorite things that I've ever done for a person that has lost their appetite, so I really hope, Vanessa, you're listening, is that we've done, I learned this from a guy up in Austin named Bob Marshall, and he said if you take care of the elderly's stomach, you will enhance their vitality for a lot longer than if you don't. And what he meant by that was you've got to help restore the stomach acid production levels. So the average elderly man or woman in their 60s is producing between 5 and 15% of the stomach acids in their stomach that they were producing when they were 20 years old. So we have to get stomach acids in. So I use a product called Premier HCl. I use a product called Zypan. I use a product called D-Digest. And these are products that we can start putting in. And these are ones that you do want to put in at the beginning or the middle of the meal. And the reason for that is because they are designed to help stomach acid production. And then we want, if that starts to change the game for him, then we'll start doing things like the reacted minerals and or the cod liver oil, which you could start both the cod liver oil and the Zypan or the Digest or Premier HCl immediately together, and because the acids are going to help break down the food. And then we come in after that and we start restoring bile flow using things like beet products. We use a product called Beta Food or AF Beta Food or Cholecol even to help kind of supercharge the gallbladder and give it a little break long enough if he still has one. And if he doesn't, no problem. We can back that up and support him. And anybody out there, by the way, if you don't have a gallbladder, you need to come see us. We've got answers you need to know because there's a lot of brain stuff associated with gallbladder missing. There's a lot of cardiovascular incidences that happen with no gallbladder. So we start with stomach acids though, and we start with getting nutrients into that stomach to help it produce more acid and then of course because of the situation, him not eating, that's probably why he's losing so much weight. And because he's not putting fuel in. So his blood sugar's low, so he's very lethargic and run down and beat up. So I hope that helps. I know that, I can't really speak to him exactly because he's not a patient, but I would sure love for him to be, and that you can be a patient. If you got symptom patterns you weren't genetically born with and you're not happy with the direction of your health, I want you to sit down right now and build a 5-year plan, build a 15-year plan, build a 45-year plan. What do you want your life to look like 25 years, 50 years, 100 years from now? What do you build your life on paper? And it's okay if it changes a little bit along the way, because right now you might have a lack of knowledge, you might not quite fully understand, but you could surely write down, I want to be fully functional in spirit, mind, and body. I want good health. I don't want to have I'm going to avoid having cancer in my body because by the stripes of Jesus I'm healed. Whatever in whatever way you can be enlightening and positive to yourself and write out your life story, because it'll help you start building more of those keystone beliefs instead of those limiting beliefs that are holding you back. You can start resetting and re-strategizing how you're going to motivate yourself to get your hiney out of bed in the morning, how you're going to stop eating the junk food and the fake food and the make-believe food and expecting anything more. And so I want you to really, take this idea and write out a mission on how you want your life to look 15, 30, 50, 75, 125 years from now. Like really stretch your thinking and what would you like to do as a 100-year-old person? What would you like to do as a 75-year-old person? The average centenarian, the guy that lives to be over 100, says his most productive years were between 65 and 95. So at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, I plan to be 125 fully functional in spirit, mind, and body. And I'd like for you to have that, mission in your own life too. Now, God might take you home sooner. That's great. But at the end of the day, what if every day on this planet you were disease-free? What if every day on this planet you were a positive, inspirational light to somebody that's looking to you as an elder for guidance and direction? And so remember, we all are a testimony to somebody. We all are an example, and especially to our children. Your children only do what they see you doing, and they're never going to listen. They're going to do what you do and less likely to do what you say. And so I want to encourage you, set the example, set the tone. So if you're not happy with where your health is, Call Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, 281-554-8600. Visit our website at justlivewell.com and allow us to be a resource for you and your family. I have a great team. I have a great staff. I have a great clinical staff that wants to serve you. And we believe that all life starts and stops at the cellular level. And nutrition, guys, is the fundamental backbone that allows you to either spiral out of control or get traction and start feeling good, living good. And we want you to not only live good, be good, we want you to get great big results with your life. So God bless you all. We love you. We cherish this time with you, and we look forward to another great week.
It's 10:01. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have the 4B Disaster Response Network here in studio. Here was a question that we had on our Facebook stream asking, like, hey, do you guys podcast this stuff? Are you able to go back and listen to this? Yeah, we do. So we're actually available on Apple Podcasts. We're available on Spotify. Anywhere that you can stream a podcast, search KHEA Radio. And we're actually backlogging currently. So we're up to, I believe, May. We're in May of this year, and you can go all the way back to like over a year ago and listen to all kinds of crazy stuff on there. And there's some really good content, including stuff with Dr. Chapa as well. And we're getting that caught up, so that way it'll go to like, hey, we have a podcast today with Dr. Chapa. It's available for you to listen to today as well. Feel free to share this stream out. Go to talkoftaco.com during this quick break. When we come back, we're going to have the 4B Disaster Response Network here in studio. Thank you, Dr. Chapa.
You're very welcome, my man.
So yeah, this next group, what they do is they focus on people still recovering from Harvey, and the way they got their name is pretty neat, but it's called the 4B Disaster Response Network. I'm not going to try and guess what the B's are. They told me, but I don't remember. I remember part of it, but I don't want to get it wrong and then be wrong. So there's that, but they're going to be joining us and talking about people that are still recovering from Harvey. So, I whenever the news and the cameras kind of pull away from a situation, it kind of is easy to potentially forget about it, especially if maybe you recovered or you know somebody that did, but a lot of people still haven't. So that's what this group is doing. Again, feel free to share this video out, ask some questions. If you have any questions for Dr. Chopper as well, you can go and still ask those on this stream, because his staff and himself as well, he'll be able to go back and answer those as he has time. So let me know what you got going on today. We have an awesome show. Crystal, you can go ahead and bring them in, and we'll get them situated in here and make sure that they're good to go.
Hey, God bless you, dude. Have a good day.
God bless you too, Dr. Chopper. You're awesome.
I enjoyed it.
You got that workout with your cooler.
That's right. It's the game.
And that's it. That's the end. Now y'all can come have a seat over here and get your chair comfortable, and then you can actually move your mics and get those to where they need to go. But sit comfortable, and then you're going to want to pull the mic pretty close to where it's like you're talking like pretty close to it. So that way we'll get the best audio.
Look, I can't even see my notes. I can't even see them. Okay,
That's good. All right. Your
you
mic
hear
looks
me?
perfect. Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm great.
What's your name?
Christina.
Christine. I'm going to write that down. Is it with a C or K?
CH. It's like Chris and Tina.
Christina.
Yep.
All right. And what's your name again?
Monica.
Monica. So can y'all, okay, before we go on the FM, we're just going to talk a little bit. The 4B Disaster Response Network. Can y'all remind me again what the 4Bs are?
I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that
You
okay?
can tell
All
them.
right.
Yeah.
So 4B was started right after Harvey. It's a coalition of 34 churches in the region, and 4B stands for the actual region, geographical region. It's the Beltway to the beach and the Brazoria County line to the bay.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, who thought of that?
The board.
Right.
Because, okay, I've never been on a board, but I know how they work.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to get one person's idea, to pass
Yeah.
can sometimes be a task, because people are like, that wasn't my idea. I like the 5Bs better.
Yeah.
They had an extra B in there, and someone's like, no, we need to leave that one out. So anyways, whoever did it, I think it's pretty cool. 4B, and then the Beltway to the beach, Brazoria to the bay.
Yeah.
It kind of locks in your area,
Right.
and there's
And
no guessing.
On the T-shirt,
Thank you.
it's got it's a 4 and a B, but in the middle of it is a cross.
Yeah, the way the logo is.
I see it on your shirt right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I didn't
Yeah.
notice that till
Okay.
now. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a little cross in there.
Very cool. So
Yeah.
were y'all involved with the beginning of this organization?
No.
Y'all joined later.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it that made y'all compelled to be able to join?
You can go
I'll
first.
start. I joined before Monica. My husband and I actually came a year ago last February with another organization called 8 Days of Hope. We were missionaries with them, and we came to the Houston area primarily to help with kind of all the beginning stages of rebuilding. 4B invited 8 Days of Hope in, and then my husband and I came to help them. And in the interim between, they had 3 different visits, and in the interim, 4B needed somebody to kind of help manage. So we stayed on, and then we really felt very called to stay here. So we were full time with 4B in May this past year officially, but we've been with them since basically March of 2018.
Where are you originally from?
New Hampshire.
And because you said you were missionaries with 8 Days of Hope, so you came. Where'd you
Just-
come from? From New
I came
Hampshire?
from New Hampshire and planned to just be here for about 2.5, 3 weeks. And we stayed all summer to help, just with some different things between the 8 Days of Hope missions. And then we had a bit of a stop. We left for about 2.5 months. And when we came back last October, we were on full time with 4B. As managers, I'm the coordinator, the jobs coordinator. So
So you specifically moved down here to be able to help this area.
100%.
You know, our area down here, I've never been to New Hampshire, but is it similar at all? How is it different?
No.
What made it?
I might as well gone to Mars. It's so different.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, we can. Maybe that's the next spot where you're
You
called
never
to
know.
go. I don't know.
She loves it.
I
Don't
love
let her
it.
act
No, I
like
love
She
it.
doesn't.
When you're called somewhere by God, you really don't. It's not that you necessarily know exactly what you want to do, but you just do. You just obey. But he put a special place in my heart for Texas, and I always felt like I was supposed to live in Texas anyway. So
Was it an easy transition?
because it was through obedience, it was very easy. Yeah. No, we've had a really good transition. Easy.
Why did you feel like you were? You mentioned even just a second ago. You said, "Hey, I always felt like I was supposed to live in Texas." Why?
My parents actually spent their first 13 months married in Killeen, and
Okay.
I heard about it all my life. And then I had a few friends that moved here and, made Texas home. And then when we came, it was, it just fit. It just fit really well.
She met me.
And I met this, Monica came, well, I won't talk, I guess. Monica came on board the beginning of the year,
Okay.
but she'll tell you how that
Are you from here?
happened.
I am. Born
Okay.
and raised in Dickinson.
Awesome.
Kind of lived here my whole life. I was a victim of Harvey. I had 41 inches of water in my home, and 8 days came and helped us, and that's how I met Christina. And she worked in my home, and we just kind of hit it off as friends. And then as we started to recover further and further, I started trying to volunteer with 4B in my time that I had available, and got to know them really well, and they started kind of becoming family to me. And
Cool.
then in January, I was able to come on as the volunteer coordinator.
Awesome. So
Love it.
So with 8 Days of Hope, going back to what was the? Do y'all come in for 8 days and do? How does that work?
Yeah. 8 Days of Hope is an not international, I guess, national organization. They were founded during Katrina. They do Saturday to Saturday. So they fill like 8 days. Volunteers come in, they're fed, they have a place to stay, and they have jobs that are given to them, projects that are given to them to go out and do. And so as missionaries, we gave 140 days out of our year specifically for that purpose, to do go wherever they need us to go. Excuse me. And so we came a little earlier than the mission. Like in March, there was it was a back-to-back mission of 16 days, and there was approximately 5,000 people that came and volunteered in that time. So my husband and I and a group of other leaders came sooner to kind of get things set up.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go on the FM right now. I'll get y'all reintroduced. We can talk about the organization and just see where it goes. All right, here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM right now. It is 10:10 a.m. It's Tuesday morning. We just had Dr. Aaron Chapa here in studio. It was an awesome time. We were talking about getting sleep, getting rest, whether you're getting good sleep or dreaming too much. I don't know, but a lot of people were interested. And next week, I think we're talking about like blood pressure and stuff, but I would like to stretch out the sleeping topic because it was so good. But right now we have Christina, we have Monica here in studio. They're with the 4B Disaster Response Network. How are y'all doing this morning?
Great.
Wonderful.
Thank you for hanging out. Hey, Christina, can you go ahead and say your position, and then we'll ask Monica to say your role here at y'all's organization?
Yeah, I'm Christina. I'm the projects coordinator at 4B Disaster Response Network.
Okay.
And I'm the volunteer coordinator.
Is it easy getting volunteers for this?
Yes and no. When we sit down and talk to people about, what we're doing and kind of reminding people that there's still such a great need, then people want to get involved. But at the same time, why I say no is because I think it's a forgotten disaster. People think it's over, and we're very far from being finished.
Yeah, we just hit 2 years from, the rain event that took place from Harvey. I saw Facebook memories, and a couple weeks before that, it kind of slipped up on me. Like I didn't even realize that it was coming up. And social media can sometimes be a good tool to remind. Sometimes it's memories you don't want to see, but for a lot of people, that's a traumatic event that happened, including yourself. Can you share your story?
Yes. I was also a victim of Harvey. I had 41 inches of water in my home, and it was a experience. I was, because of my Christian faith, it was easier, I think, just putting my faith in God. And, we didn't have flood insurance, so it was like how, with your physical eyes, how are we going to do this? But really grew us and stretched us in our faith with God. And, he just kept on bringing it. Mm-hmm. And we were able to get home in about 4 days short of a year. We moved back in, so it was a interesting time for us. And I tell people all the time I wouldn't change it because it really changed our life for the better.
So yeah, getting volunteers for something that a lot of people have not necessarily forgotten about, but just need to be reminded about, because there's a lot of people that are still not recovered.
Absolutely.
Especially in our area, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have about 10,000 families that aren't recovered yet, and that's a crazy number to even believe, but that's the reality.
Yeah. Whenever we say recovered, do you mean like back to where they were, or they're just not even in their house, or is it just it's all over the place?
Well, unfortunately, most of those families have had to move back into their homes.
So they're living there.
They're living in homes that have no floors,
mm-hmm.
no walls finished, no doors. A lot of them, when we call, we are working out of a database that was established, right after Harvey. So we have about 500. We started with 500 people in the database, or homes in the database. We've completed 315 of those homes as of this week. So we're very, very proud of that. Very excited about that. But we have about 1,500 altogether that have not been entered yet. So out of those, we're hoping some of them will have been completed. But that's just a small portion of the number we're talking about. That's just what we could handle, or we thought we could handle. But when we make a phone call, initially, they're telling me there's no drywall finished, the floors are not done. They have one operating bathroom. They might have a sink with like a little cupboard, but they have no cabinets. These are folks that at this point, if they have not done anything, it's because if they need our help, I should say, it means they have not done anything yet. They're just paying their bills,
Because they still have to pay the mortgage,
right?
Mm-hmm. Still have to go to school,
mm-hmm.
go to work to be able to pay what they have.
Right.
Exactly.
So, what is it? Why do you do what you do? Growing up in New Hampshire, I suppose you said you always felt like you were going to end up in Texas, had some family that had been here before. But what is it that led you to be a missionary with 8 Days of Hope that kind of brought you here? Like, why?
I actually grew up in Canada. I married a guy from Maine, and we moved to New Hampshire. Anyway, we came here because we joined 8 Days of Hope originally because of just a desire to give back. We were, my husband and I are both in construction already. We're drywall contractors. We reached a point in our life where nothing was satisfying, nothing felt right, and things weren't necessarily working right. And we felt very much like we're being compelled to a new season. And we just wanted to help people who could not help themselves in any way. So being able to work with any organization that could provide material and occasionally tools that we might not have access to, we could give our blood, sweat, and tears, as if you will, and do what we could. So we felt very compelled back then to do that. We had no idea at the time that we joined 8 days that we would be coming to Texas, because that was like in October, November, and they had different places they would go. But the minute we got here, I can actually remember during Harvey watching the news from New Hampshire, and literally in the middle of my living room crying as if I knew the people that I saw on the screen, without knowing that in a few short months I would actually get to know some of those people and really be connected. And God was already calling me, and I didn't know it. So
yeah. Whenever you came down here and you met people like Monica, you met other people who had gone through, maybe the worst moment of their life, of a lot of people's lives. What kind of reactions, what kind of moments were created whenever you met these people?
There's a bond that you have when you're sorting through people's personal items, helping them decide what to keep and not keep, helping them to just see past the chaos and the destruction, and to kind of give them a new vision of what their home could look like, that it could still become a place that they feel safe and secure in, and they can raise their family. And you have to paint those pictures with them, and primarily giving them hope in Jesus, that He's the one that will take away that fear and chaos in their mind. And those are all things that really bond you with those people. And I feel I'm very connected to several families that I've helped, that my husband and I helped personally over the last year and a half. But and then the relationships that you make are a God thing too. I mean, there's no way to describe how meeting somebody and then just knowing you're supposed to be friends, there's no way to describe that.
Monica, besides yourself, have there been other people that 8 days, or that Christina and you worked with, that kind of came back and said, hey, I want to help, I want to volunteer?
We've had a few, and we have a homeowner right now that we're about to finish her home, and she asked on Saturday, hey, I'm ready to do this with y'all. I want to start volunteering. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So, okay, let's say there's somebody that needs help. Y'all come in, what does the process look like? How does it work? Do y'all do hey, y'all need drywall, I'm going to install it, or we can find it, or flooring? Do y'all do it all?
We do it all. We would go in and assess the home and see what is needed, and then go from there. We make a plan, and then, and the time frame is going to depend on how many volunteers we have, because we pretty much run on volunteers. We do have some paid employees, but not many. So the need for volunteers is very great, because the more volunteers we have, the more work we can get done.
What kind of volunteers do y'all need? Like professionals that know how to do this?
Well, I mean, that's great, and we love that,
Yes,
but it
yes,
doesn't
please.
matter. Anybody with a willing heart we can use, because we can train you and show you, what to do. And really the work isn't as difficult as you might think it is. It's a lot easier than you think.
Seems like it'd be hard. If I'm being honest, like building and rebuilding a house, I don't know how to do that. But yeah, I can bend down, I can pick up, I
Right.
can move stuff around, and I like to think that I can learn, quickly. Crystal over here may disagree with that. Maybe she does. I don't know, but would I be a good person to
Absolutely.
volunteer?
Absolutely. And I
Breathing
mean,
it out.
my 12-year-old daughter is awesome at laying flooring. It doesn't take long to learn the skills. I mean, they really are. It is easier than you would think. I mean, it looks scary, it looks hard, but it really isn't. And we have, people that can really train you well.
Okay, cool. Do you have any kids as well?
Yeah.
Do they volunteer?
My son and my daughter both volunteered with us. My son actually is just coming on board in the staff now for 4B as well.
Cool.
He's 21. And I mean, We had some of our best work has been done by middle school and high school students. And I don't mean best work as in the most professional, but the most energetic and
Excited about it, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
yeah, and they take direction well, and they don't have any really bad habits that they bring to the table. They're just going to do what
Whatever you.
a professional tells them to do. You know,
Yeah.
it's
It's
good.
like, well, I've been using a hammer like this for 20 years,
Right.
and it's
Right.
like, well, you're gonna bust up the tile. You haven't hammered tile before or whatever.
Right.
So here's a question. How can you refer people for assistance? Is there somewhere they can go to sign up if someone needs assistance?
They can still go to 4bdisasterresponse.org to sign up, but we
It's
unfortunately
the number 4.
Yep, the
Okay.
number 4, the letter B.
DisasterResponseNetwork.org.
Yes, but
this
at
time,
this time we're not taking we're not like really looking at new registrations because we're still working at
We have so many left. Still.
Yeah, trying to catch up with
Getting-
people who
Right.
have been signed up.
yeah.
Right.
I got you.
Um,
Here's another comment as well. It says ripping drywall is stress relieving and you burn calories while helping people. Is that accurate?
oh, very much so. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think of
It's fun.
Chip and Joe, and it's
Yeah.
what does he always say?
Demo
It's
day.
Demo day.
Yeah.
And he goes in there with a hammer and just starts banging, the
Absolutely.
drywall and ripping out stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Demo day's great.
And we still do quite a bit of demo.
Some,
But it's most of the mucky, dirty jobs were all done a year and a half ago. They were finished. So now we're dealing with houses that have drywall cut, 5 or 6 feet or whatever, or none on the walls at all. So we're going back in and reconnecting, rebuilding all that.
With your kids and young people in general, do you think it's important to get them to volunteer and give back, starting young?
Absolutely. Train them up right.
Yeah.
They learn a lot too when they go in and they, meet a homeowner and see how grateful that the homeowners are, and that really makes an impression on them. And then I think you set them up to continue to do that for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Awesome.
The joy that you receive. Like I've often taught my children this, and I know anybody that has ever volunteered will know, the minute you give something that you don't expect anything in return for, there's a special joy that only that can give you. And I believe God made us that way. And once somebody has experienced that, it's really, there's no other place they can find it. So that will bring them back to serving, time and time again. So we
Right,
definitely want to do that when they're young.
We've said many times, we go in to bless the homeowner, but usually we come out, feeling way more blessed than probably they were.
Wow.
It's a neat experience.
So whenever you go into a house, if the homeowner is able, do you all kind of ask them to volunteer as well?
We don't ask them to. I think most people naturally want to help in their own home. Occasionally we have, family members that really can't maybe do the physical
Right.
work. Often, if it's the case, they'll bring muffins and donuts and coffee,
Right.
and they'll do what
they'll
they
feed
they
you.
just want to. They want to be thankful and grateful, but they're not required. Like
Right.
Habitat for Humanity used to require a certain number
Right.
of hours. 4B does not require that. We just want to bless them, and usually they'll kick in because they want to. But
Right. And part of our thinking in this, or our mission, is that, we're going in repairing homes, but we're rebuilding lives, and we really want to touch people and show the love of Jesus. And so for us, we kind of joke about that, we'll get your house fixed, but that's not really what we're there for. We're there to, share Christ with people
Awesome.
while we're rebuilding your home.
When do y'all generally do the work? When's the work done? Like on the weekends or in the week or whenever?
We work Monday through Friday every week, and then the first Saturday of every month we have a big serve day. It's called First Saturday Serve.
Okay. And then who funds the supplies? Who funds the organization? How do y'all stay operational?
I'm gonna let you talk.
yeah, okay. So primarily, we're funded with grants and private donors. Anybody can donate. There's a donate button on our website.
Right, you can partner.
You can
with
partner
us.
with us, but it's primarily grants and larger corporations that are private donors.
Mm-hmm. And y'all just got through that first
Churches.
Saturday serve, right?
Yeah,
We just
It was this
finished one.
past weekend. How did that go?
It was good. That's good. We worked in 8 homes, so we were
8 homes in one day?
Yes, sir.
And is it the same group of volunteers, or is it different volunteers at different spots and they're kind of working?
Different. We have some people that come every first Saturday serve. They do it. They catch the bug. They love it. They want to keep coming back. So that's awesome. And then sometimes it's people's first times because they just heard about it or whatever. But so we just plug them in wherever needed. So usually what we do on a Saturday serve is that, wherever we've been working all week, they'll go in and work on those homes. We're just continuing.
We break people up into groups. Folks come in and actually choose the job they want to serve in because we post them on the walls and give them details about what's going to be done in each of those homes. And they can, generally just pick out where they want to go. And then we have leaders from that, that we trust that are in charge and will direct and supervise and
train you.
Train.
You don't
if
know
they
what you're
need
doing.
it. And we only need, you want to talk about how many hours or what we're...
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to serve a full day. We just ask that you serve 4 hours. So we have like 2 shifts on that Saturday serve. We have 8 to noon and then noon to 4. If you want to serve the full day, that's even better. But, we know everybody's busy and, has busy lives. So we just ask 4 hours during the week. Really just any time you have. You have 2 hours, we can put you to work for 2 hours. It doesn't matter.
4 hours for 4B every 4 weeks.
From the Beltway to the beach, from Brazoria to the bay, the 4 Bs. If you fall in that area, that's how did y'all pick that area, I suppose?
It's where the churches were, the coalition of churches, most of them were in that area.
It was 34 churches that were a part of the start of this coalition.
Yes.
And so right now, are y'all a nonprofit as of now? Okay. I'm not really sure how if it's a coalition and then it kind of change into a nonprofit,
Yep.
that kind of works?
It was, yep. That's
Okay.
what happened.
Cool. So what's the vision, for the future to finish out Harvey? Hopefully, it'd be nice to get it finished in the next year. I don't know if some people will ever go back. Is that what y'all are going to mainly focus on, or y'all ever going to expand to where y'all focus on other things as well?
For now, the focus is Harvey, getting that completed. We'll see where God takes it after that, but we don't have any actual, plans outside of that.
Because there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work.
There's so much work, and, you don't want to put years on it, but it's a possibility.
Katrina took 8 to 9 years to recover, and that didn't mean everybody went home. It just meant that the vast majority of people, were able to live back in their homes. Harvey was more devastating than Katrina as far as its mass, like how far reaching the damages were. So, there's a lot of different statistics out there, but we expect to be here for a while. And like we've talked about, all the national organizations are gone.
There's too many disasters happening all over. So, it's easy for the national focus to go away here and go to the next
Big
event, right?
Yep.
And so it's really going to rely on us to help our neighbors, to go out and do the work, to get our neighbors home.
Yeah, because I guess the Bahamas is where, and they need help too.
They
and so
do.
it's great to
They
have
do.
these national organizations and even local people from here, sending
Right.
stuff if they
Absolutely.
feel like they need to.
Monica and I actually go and do what's called rapid response. So we are still actively helping people in like early disaster stage because that's our heart as well. But we'll take 4 or 5 days and go do something. We've been to Florida for Michael, Opelika, Alabama for the tornadoes, and then we were in Arkansas. And we would love to go to the Bahamas to help. Yes. We would love to do that. So we're not saying that that's not the focus at all. We're just saying help, when it's new, but then come home and maybe look down the street and help your neighbor.
Yes.
You can do both.
Okay, so here's a question. One more time, where do you go to sign up? How can you find out more information? Where can you get involved and learn about everything?
Okay, you can go to our website, www.4bresponse.org, and there's a really big volunteer button right at the top. You just click that button, and it'll lead you to the volunteer page where you can sign up. If you want to partner with us or donate money, there's also buttons for that.
Mm-hmm. How about on social media? Is it the same name?
Yeah, for Facebook, it's 4B Disaster Response Network, I believe, and then on Instagram, it's just 4B Response.
All right. And on the Instagram, do y'all post pictures of like the work days and the work
We
that's
do.
going on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll have to follow. Because I'd like to see that. You know.
And you can see we have my father-in-law volunteered for 2 months. He's 83. And then we have
Hard worker.
all the way down to, kids that are children under 12. We ask that they come with the parent, obviously. And over, help me out, 16 to, is it 16? They can come without the parent if they have a supervisor.
Yes.
Is that right? But we have children that will come, under 12, sometimes 12 and under,
Right.
with their parents.
And we've had youth groups come, like during the summer, and come with just chaperones and people to watch them. So.
Yeah, I went and looked at y'all's Instagram, and I see pictures, people painting. It even looks like, I'm not sure if it is, but like a father and a son.
It is.
It's a great way, I don't know, just to bond, over helping other people.
It is.
It's just a great tool, and you can also show, a younger generation and people you're supposed to be raising. Like I have a son, and he would. I'm not sure how he would do. He would probably want to do his own artwork on the. Like if I gave him white and was like, "Hey, paint," he would be drawing like figures.
So then you go behind him with the roller, and
right?
You fix it.
He'd be mad. I'd be like, "Okay, it's time to go," and then I'm like, "Sorry," and I just got like a big roller trying to paint the wall. Do y'all ever run into that where there's maybe people are like, well, the design for this was okay, and I know this is what the homeowner wants, but we're gonna do this design my way.
You just have to steer them the right way.
My husband says there isn't anything that can be done wrong that we can't fix.
Okay.
That's
so
right.
it's all right.
That's, I don't know. Maybe a challenge.
Right.
So it's 10:32. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. We're going to take a quick break on the FM, chat for a bit on Facebook, social media. If you are watching on Facebook, share this video out. Hit the share button, hit the like button, or the heart, react. Let us know what you got going on today. If you have already volunteered or been to the website yet, this is KHEA Radio. Awesome.
Great.
So, here's someone, 4bresponse.org. That's the website right there.
Yeah.
Oh, and I accidentally clicked on it, but it opened up real quick. And, there's a big volunteer with the map.
Yep.
Sweet. Who did y'all's website?
What's the name of the company?
Oh, we just finished
doing
Say, it looks great.
The new one. I think Lovewell.
Yep. Sounds right.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
Very
cool.
I wanted it to be easy to get in and
Right.
out. And
Yeah, and the pictures with the blue. So how many people are on y'all's board? Is it people with the churches?
Yep. There are 12 members, I think. Am I saying that? I think there's 12 members. Ben Baldwin is our director, and the founder is Chris Alstead from Clear Creek Community Church.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Ben. I should have had that in front of me. I don't know all the board members. I can't remember. But most of them
They're on the
are
website.
I found it right now. I'm looking at the
ministers.
board
Yeah.
right now.
We have Antioch Church is represented, and what's the one down in Galveston, the big church down there that Aaron is part of?
I see Coastal.
Coastal Community.
Yeah,
Thank
Antioch,
you.
Coastal, Harbor, Gateway, CCCCCCC, and Bay Area Church.
Yes. So out of the 34 that began with us, obviously, they didn't all stay involved because
That's a lot of churches.
that's a huge
34 churches.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. It's supernatural if you think about it because they're all interdenominational too. So,
Yeah.
For God to bring that many hearts together to get this started was a really big deal.
Yeah, it would have to be God. Like I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like to have that many
absolutely.
churches try and work on a common goal. Cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. But those are our comments. So the churches now are the ones that, volunteers come from, and they stay really involved and have us in their, their weekly bulletins
and stuff like
and
that.
that kind of thing.
And that's
So,
part of my job is trying to go out and get more churches to put us in their bulletin and
reach out, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just make announcements to get, people involved, because really, and I should have said this on the radio, but as Christians in churches, we're always looking for ways to go and, share the gospel, right? And it's not like the old days where you just go knock on someone's door and they'd open the door to you. That doesn't happen anymore. People
Usually
are like, who
they're
are
like
you?
mad.
Why are you here? And
They're talking through the Ring doorbell back and being like, I don't want it.
So this is an open invitation because these people are swinging their doors open. Help me.
Come on in.
And they're vulnerable. And so it's a perfect opportunity to go in and share Christ with somebody who may not know him. And so if you look at it from that perspective, it's kind of a different way to look at it.
Yeah.
That's the best way. Really not just, we need help rebuilding homes, but let's look at it that we need help, going out and evangelizing in a sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think, whenever that shift happened where people are less likely, and I understand it because if someone comes and knocks on my door and I don't know, like, who are you? Like, what are you doing? Are you expecting something? Like,
Right.
okay, what's going on? If it's a cause, I'll listen. If it's something I want to contribute to, then I will. But, I'm like, well, I don't want I already have somebody for pest control.
Right.
I already have,
An
I don't need
agent,
to upgrade this.
Right.
I understand. But a lot of people are more welcoming on social media, like our friends are right now. So they're still welcoming in the home and they want to learn about this stuff. But the way that they learn is it's just changed.
Exactly.
So it's really it's good. That's why I love spreading about organizations like yours.
Yep.
So that way people can know, because people want to give back. They want to volunteer.
Absolutely.
They want to be able to donate or just make a difference, but they just need to know how.
And where. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I agree with that. I believe that a lot of people don't know the need's still so great, and they don't know where to get involved.
Yeah, we just had a camera die, but it hadn't died in a long time. It was charged. Oh, because Choppa goes long with the early. That's what it is. Hey, this is totally unrelated, but as I had opened up y'all's website and then I'd hit to the next tab over. Have y'all seen this Beyond Meat?
Oh, I haven't had it yet.
I haven't had
tried
it
but
either.
I guess it's
Where's it
amazing.
at?
Burger King.
Burger King has a Whopper made with this, and like
It's a
Oh.
vegetable burger, veggie burger.
yeah. So they have Burger King's carrying it, like Freebirds is
I
carrying
need
it.
to try it because I like.
Taco Cabana's carrying it, like all these, and you can go to
Wow.
like to HEB and get it's like Beyond Meat, but they keep it in the meat section.
But it's not meat.
It's not meat. It's all made out
I
of
have
like
missed this whole thing.
I don't know. I
made
had
like
talked
a
to Choppa
is
about it before.
Tofu?
It's not tofu. It's I think I want to say so. Let me go. It's not soy. Man, I don't know what it is, but they use different elements of stuff to recreate the marble and the meat and
make
the
it taste
fat
like
and all
meat,
this
yeah.
stuff.
Interesting.
And I want to try. I
It's
want
been
to
a big
try it.
deal on the, you don't watch a lot of TV.
I don't watch
anymore,
TV,
no.
and I don't really listen to the radio too
No.
much either.
Well,
I-
next time you should.
Spotify. I
Except-
know.
Except for Kate.
I did listen to KHEA this morning, absolutely.
But next time that you even drive by a Burger King, just like look at the branding like on the
Yeah,
outside,
yeah.
or like I went to Freebirds and I saw it on the outside, like now carrying.
I
Beyond-
love that Freebirds. I love Freebirds.
It's interesting.
Yeah, so I got a bowl, but I got like with the meat, like
Oh,
with
you
the
got the-
beef, and I was just like, I'm just gonna get the beef, like put it in there. But I wanted to try, but not that bad. But I want to go to the grocery store and buy some and just like throw it on the grill and
Put it
see if
on the
it's
See
okay.
if
grill.
it works. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But they make all kinds of products, totally unrelated, but
Well, 4B, we
Popped
like
up.
to eat and grill, so
Yeah.
We
you know.
related.
We do.
cool.
Our weekday volunteers actually often get what we call a free lunch Friday.
Okay, I'm down with that. So
So,
when,
yep.
so if you're gonna volunteer, like someone like me, it should be on Friday. You get
Friday.
free lunch.
Yeah.
We have a grill
Absolutely.
out back, and sometimes we just grill up hamburgers or hot dogs or whatever.
We get pizza. Or,
Yeah.
Who's the
you know.
grill master? Is it one of y'all?
Ben
Ben
Baldwin.
is?
Yeah, our director.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we share an office, so we're right in League City, and we have Ben's over in the corner, and then Monica and I are out in the main space. But yeah,
So if I show up on a Friday with some Beyond Meat,
oh
like in the
we'll-
package,
we'll-
I'm gonna be like, "What's going on?" And you're like,
Yeah.
"It's pizza day."
That's okay. We'll say we'll eat it
Grill's
all.
there all the time.
That's awesome. Very cool. Hey, Manish said chickpeas. I don't know. Have you had that?
Ooh, that
Beyond
makes
Meat?
sense.
Is it chickpeas? Manish, he's a vegetarian. He owns Little Bella Mia and Coco Crepes over in League City.
Oh,
Yeah, which are great restaurants. He gives back a lot to the community as well. But
I bet it
he
is
doesn't eat meat.
chickpeas. Chickpeas would make sense because I've had another burger like one of those, a veggie burger that I really like that was made with chickpeas.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds good to me, though. I just like food. And now that I'm talking about food, I'm hungry. I had, speaking of food, so we have an event called, it's our Talk of Taco Cook-Off. It's coming up in October. It's a taco cook-off, like barbecue style.
Nice.
It's going to be trophies, cash prizes. We're teaming up with United Way. And so that's who it's benefiting, for our area, the Galveston County United Way. So we're excited about it. But we're going to go film some video today. And so I've been trying to eat healthier. But then I'm just like, man, I know I'm trying to eat healthy, but I have to do this for the video.
Yes.
I have to
Right.
Yeah,
Gotta
you got
eat
to pay
tacos.
the price.
I gotta pay the price. I need a taco for the film, and if I'm
For
gonna eat
you.
one, I might as well eat like 6,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a slippery slope.
yeah.
I feel bad for you.
You asked me earlier about Texas and why I wanted to come. Well, my dad brought with him back north to the Northeast. He brought back fried tacos. That's what.
Really?
Oh my goodness! Nobody had ever seen one or heard of it, right? And we would do taco like instead of corn boils, and we would do a taco fry. Like all the family, community, friends would come, and my mother would have like 5-6 dozen tacos all fried up, and then the big, table with every. Oh my gosh, my dad could eat a dozen by himself.
Yeah. Oh, easy all day long.
Oh yeah.
And the faster you eat them, the more you can. Just
Right.
a little secret, pro tip.
Right. And don't fill them too full.
Right.
Just-
You can eat more. That's the way my mom. So growing up, my mom, she would make us tacos and she would fry them. Like, take the tortilla, put it in there, fry it, and then it's good. It has that crunch, and I don't know. You can't. They don't do those everywhere.
No.
So
the best one I found when I first came was Jack in the Box, believe it or not.
Jack in the Box does it.
They have them the right way.
They do, yeah.
But everywhere else, so I was a little disillusioned because everywhere else I ordered a taco, I got a soft shell taco. Like, dude, this is not what I want.
Right.
So I found them at Jack in the Box. I was pretty excited.
Yeah, Jack in the Box and my mom's house. Like, those are the places where you can get it done that way. Like if you have Mexican food somewhere else and you being from Canada,
Yeah.
moving to New Hampshire,
Yeah.
they don't do it right. I'm sorry. At least with Mexican food. I'm sure there's other
They
stuff.
don't. No, they don't.
Okay, so I've had the opportunity to travel like playing music, right? And the first time I was in Michigan, after I played this concert, these people took us to go eat, and it was a place called the Red Pepper in Michigan, and I'll never forget it. And I was looking at the menu, and I'm like, what am I going to order? I'm a very visual person, so I see the pictures. Like, I always order the special limited time things, like Beyond Meat. And I'm like, oh, I want the Whopper.
Right.
Go figure, right? And I see nachos, and I'm like, you can't mess up nachos. Like, right? Like, okay, yeah.
Michigan,
Man, I got
maybe.
the Michigan nachos at the Red Pepper. I need to find them and message them on social media and apologize for all of the potential publicity that I've been giving them, good or bad. I don't know, whatever. But yeah. Oh, I was like, what is this? It was so bad. Like,
So the first time I ever ordered nachos was at a place called Governor's in Maine. So get ready.
okay.
So the nachos that I got were the round tortillas that you buy, in a bag, on a plate with spaghetti sauce and mozzarella cheese melted on top.
Oh, my
Wow.
gosh.
I am telling you the truth. And they sold hundreds of them. I mean, all kinds of them.
And they called it nachos.
They called it nachos. When I had my first real nachos at the Margaritas.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Then you understood, be like, oh,
Yeah.
That's what a nacho
Yeah.
is supposed to be.
That
This
was like
is
a
nachos.
taco pizza thing.
yeah, the other might be good. I like, I
Right.
like tacos. I like pizza. You combine it might be something special, but
Call it
Spaghetti-
something else.
Spaghetti sauce and mozzarella cheese.
just create something new, your own. It's
It was
really
awful.
confusing
No
to people.
onions, no, nothing.
Interesting.
All right. Hey, so we got about 1:20. We can go back on the FM. We're going to remind everybody how they can get involved, volunteer, go to the website, sign up, learn more. It's a really pretty website. I recommend you go look at it. And you can click volunteer at the top. And that website, I really like it because there's a lot of not good websites out
Yeah.
there, but it's easy to navigate as well. So
Right. We wanted it to be really user friendly.
it is. It's
so
good.
there's
It's
no
good.
confusion.
So yeah, feel free to let me know. Hey, have you heard of the 4B Response Network? The team, have you been involved? Have you volunteered? They just got through with their first Saturday give back. What is it called? First Saturday Serve, and that's every Saturday on the first one of the month.
Yeah, the first Saturday of the month. Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. We're going to go on right now. I can only imagine. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Right now it's 10:45 a.m. We have the 4B Disaster Response Network here in studio. We got Christina and Monica hanging out, talking about all of the opportunities that people have to give back, specifically whenever it comes to people that were affected by Harvey. So our area, and I'll say Dickinson on this side of town, was one of the places that was hit the hardest. You know, and Monica, your house had how many inches of water in it?
Had 41 inches in my home.
And how long did it take you to get back into there?
We moved in 4 days short of the 1 year anniversary. So it took us a while.
And there's still people that haven't even moved in yet.
Absolutely. Even in my neighborhood, we have several homes that haven't even started the rebuild yet.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Hard to believe, but it's very true. And it seems to be that way throughout the town as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are you right there off of like 517?
I am right there off 45 in Bio Chantilly. So our entire neighborhood went underwater because we're right on the edge of the bio. So.
Yeah. Is that over there by the
raceway?
Yeah, Bay Area Raceway.
Yeah.
Man.
And we're just one neighborhood. You know, I mean, there were so many others. And, you know, it's easy to not see it because, like we've talked about before, a lot of times homeowners, you know, they will mow their lawns, do all the things. So it appears that the home is fine, but you open the door and, you know, it may just be gutted still. Or maybe they're living in it that way. And go ahead.
I just pointed at it
Yeah.
because on that note, there's a video series called Far From Finished that
Houston
Response put together, and that's exactly what it is they visit homes that you pull into the driveway and, you know, the flowers are kept, the lawns are mowed, you know, the lights come off and on at night, but you go inside and the minute you open the door, you realize they have no floors, they have no walls, they have, you know, everything is in chaos. They can't live there, or they're living there, you know, out of totes and on cots or air mattresses. And
what does that do to someone, especially like a family, you know, having to deal with that?
Man, this far out, I can't imagine how they must be feeling. I know they feel forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe at this point they think they're never going to get help, even though they may be on a list somewhere, you know, which is hard for us because our list is so long still. And, you know, your heart is to get in there and get it done and help them. But without volunteers, we can't do that. So that's why, you know, our plea is, you know, if you have a willing heart, just come and serve with us. You will have fun. It is fun. But it's also a wonderful experience because you get to go and minister to these homeowners, and they are so grateful for any time you can give, because even that little bit of time that you give is just one step closer that they get to come home. And not only that, when we walk through the door, that brings hope back to them, because they're like, oh, someone's here to help me. And that is such a boost for a homeowner in that situation. And I can say that because I've been there. You know, when people show up, man, I can't even put words on it. It's pretty amazing.
We could tell you lots of stories, but I think I didn't ask permission, so I'm not going to use maybe her real name.
No names.
No. But a young lady that we actually started helping last October. She's a single mom. She has a pretty good job, but she lived in an area in Dickinson that was completely flooded. Her income paid for her mortgage and her insurance and her car payment and her children, you know, and her life. And she did not lose her job, but that's all it paid for. She could not do the repairs. The insurance that she did have covered like one thing in the house. It was either the roof or the foundation. It's not enough to do everything. So she got a new roof, and that was it. And she had come to a standstill, and she literally was living with a friend in a bedroom. Her family had to be split up because she has a son with special needs who had to go live with her ex-husband. It was devastating to her, and depression, you know, sets in, despair. You just feel so hopeless. We started with her in October. We ran into several issues in the home. But every one of those roadblocks, God made a way to, to go through. And we had churches that stepped forward to help pay for things that 4B didn't necessarily have the funds to pay for. So I'm happy to say that their family is now reunited. They've been living in their home for 2 months. I think it was end of May. And every day is just to watch her life transform was amazing. But that first visit, everything changed. And she would tell you that we prayed with her, number one. Before we did anything else, we prayed with her. And then we walked through and look at what can we do? And then we just started showing up. And maybe it would be 2 or 3 people one day, for a week or 3 or 4 days. And then there'd be a big group of 10 or 12 that would come on a first Saturday serve and get all the drywall up. Or, there are so many steps to come to completion. But every single hour that's put in is an hour that, you're giving to get them over the finish line. And her whole perspective changed. By Christmas, she was a brand new person. She had come out of depression. She had, everything was so much better. She saw the light. And now that she's in her home, she wants to give back as well. Like there's just so many stories like that. I just think
it's
of
neat
that
to be a
one.
part of it.
Yeah.
So, if you're listening and you think maybe you got a little tug that you might want to do something like that, do it. I mean, it's absolutely life-changing in a sense, too.
Awesome. Is there anything else y'all like to share while y'all are here?
Just come out and serve. Your neighbors need you. It's important. We get so wrapped up in our own lives sometimes, in our daily grind, whatever, that we forget sometimes that there's so many people who are still suffering. So that's kind of my plea today is, take 4 hours out of your life once a month and come serve with us and help others. Or if you have more time than that, you're retired and you're looking for a new hobby.
This is it.
Awesome.
We can
have a lot of those.
train you, and it gives you a chance to be the hands and feet of Jesus as well and share the love of Jesus to someone in ways that you may have never thought of.
And if you want to go to the website and you can, sign up to volunteer or learn more, it's the number 4. So it's 4bresponse.org. 4bresponse.org. And it's a really beautiful website. You can sign up, learn all about the organization, check out all the information you want. There's a little map at the top, and then I think the most important thing is to hit the volunteer button right there. This has been Kickstart KHEA Radio. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you for having
today.
us.
Thank you.
Y'all are
Okay.
awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Keep doing what y'all are doing, because y'all are doing some big things and getting volunteers and allowing
Absolutely.
them to grow as people and Christians as well.
Yes,
So.
absolutely.
It's KHEA Radio 99.5 FM.
You really wanted us to giggle in the middle of that.
Well, I didn't know that
He
meat
went to
thing pulled
hit
up.
one.
He's like...